Thanks for joining us from the Ohio AgNet Voice You Know with the News You Trust studio, sponsored by BASF, where you can count on the trusted performance of Alivo seed treatment to protect your soybean crop. I am Allison Kinney. Good afternoon. Let's take a look into those headlines. Vietnam is facing a growing outbreak of African swine fever. SwineWeb.com says state media reports the number of infections has more than tripled in only 2 weeks. That's triggering urgent government intervention and raising fresh concerns about global pork supply chains. As of early August, more than 900 outbreaks have been reported in Vietnam, up sharply from the over 500 in mid-July. Vietnam's Ministry of Agriculture says the number of infected pigs soared from 30,000 to more than 100,000. The quick rise in case numbers has prompted Vietnam's prime minister to urgent directive calling on all provinces and relevant agencies to take immediate action to contain the virus. The government fears the disease will disrupt domestic food supplies and further disestablish the pork market. Vietnam made headlines in 2023 as the first country to commercially deploy an African swine fever vaccine. However, the cost and lack of efficiency are preventing wider usage. Also in the headlines, the U.S. Grains Council has officially changed its name to the U.S. Grains and Bioproducts Council. The U.S. Grains and Bioproducts Council President and CEO Ryan LeGrand said the name change completed a 2-year process.
We hired a market research firm and discussed in depth with our board, with stakeholders, and with our full staff. We've been promoting distillers' grains to overseas markets for 20 years. We have been promoting and developing markets for ethanol for 10 to 11 years in overseas markets. So those two products have been part of our identity and practice, but not in name. And so we thought it was time to really fully incorporate every product within our portfolio into our name and create a name that will carry us well into the future if we continue to evolve, maintain relevance with the times, and carry out that mission of developing markets, enabling trade, improving lives.
Not only is this the right time for a name change, but LeGrand also said it was overdue.
We didn't want to do anything hastily. We wanted to make sure that this was right for us. And so we did that and probably could have done it several years ago. As our chairman, Mark Wilson, we have an annual theme for our chairman each year. The time is now is his theme. Mainly, we reached out to the corn states and to the sorghum checkoff. These are our major funders. We also talked with our ethanol partners. We've got some huge support coming from the ethanol industry, Growth Energy, the Renewable Fuels Association. So, they were involved in the talks as well. And we wanted to make sure it was right for everyone.
The name change is timed well because of potential new applications for biofuels coming online.
SAF is on the horizon. Let's hope it can become a reality one day. Hopefully when it does, we'll be prepared for it with this name. Bioproducts incorporates everything coming out of ethanol plants today and hopefully well into the future. Another one is sustainable marine fuel. That's starting to pop up on a lot of people's radars. Ethanol can really contribute to cleaning up the fuel, cleaning up the emissions coming from these ocean-going vessels. And we're hoping to play a role in that. So bioproducts, our name would be inclusive of sustainable marine fuel as well.
The organization has a track record of adapting to new opportunities.
I think it has. 1960, we started out as the U.S. Feed Grains Council. By the time 1998 rolled around, when we changed to the U.S. Grains Council, we were doing much more than just feed grains. At that time, this organization didn't see the ethanol boom that was coming just a few short years later that would lead us into DDGS promotion that we've been doing for 2 decades now. We didn't see the ethanol promotion coming that we've been doing for over a decade now. So we continue to evolve and will continue to evolve. And that's a step we've taken with this name amendment. We're very excited for today and the future.
Again, that's Ryan LeGrand, the president and CEO of the newly named U.S. Grains and Biofuels Council. To wrap up the headlines, USDA Chief Economist Seth Meyer says the latest farmland values and cash rent numbers indicate a cooling in the year-over-year growth.
Cash rents showing flat value changes year over year, where we're seeing the farmers' assessed value of their agricultural real estate increasing by 4.3%.
When breaking down land values by croplands and pastures,
if we separate it out into cropland, still producers assess that cropland increased 4.7% in 2025 to $5,830 an acre. So assessing that cropland is increasing at a greater rate than overall ag land, and pasture land showing an even larger increase at 4.9%, hitting $1,920.
Meyer noted farm real estate values by state reflected year-over-year increases in each of the lower 48 states. Now let's take a look at the markets. This market report is brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance. Learn more online at seedconsultants.com. September corn closed in today up 4 3/4 at $3.84.5. December corn up 5 3/4 at $4.07. March corn up 5 1/4 at $4.24.5. August soybeans up 10 1/4 at $9.71 3/4. November soybeans up 9 1/4 at $9.93 3/4. September wheat up 9 3/4 at $5.18 1/4. December wheat up 9 3/4 as well at $5.39. August live cattle up 245 at $238.75, and October live cattle up 257 at $232.22. This is the Ohio AgNet.